Hi children, welcome to Gurukul Vidyalaya online classes. So in the previous video, you have learned about chemical reactions and equations. So this is the video for the chemical reactions and equation for the class 9th, and it is a part 2 video. So you will get more information in this video. So here, before going to start this video, just recall the knowledge about the previous video. So what we have learned here in that video means how the chemical reactions takes place, what are the types of chemical reactions, and how can you determine the chemical reaction. So all these things we have discussed in the previous video. So about the chemical reaction, we can express the chemical reaction in the form of word equation. For example, carbon, when it is reacted with oxygen, it gives the product carbon dioxide. So in the form of word, how can we express that one? So what I said now, that we can express. That means carbon plus oxygen gives rise to carbon dioxide. So the same equation in the form of chemical equation, how can we express? C plus O2 gives rise to CO2. So about that thing you have learned in the previous video. So now at the same time we discussed there about the balancing of the chemical reaction. So now in this topic we are going to discuss about how can we make the chemical equation more informative. So to make the chemical equation more informative, in that the first point is physical state. So here physical state plays an important role in the chemical equation. So generally when some substances are reacting with each other, we call them as a reactants, and after the reaction what we are getting, that will be the product. So when we are adding two substances, the substances may be in different states. They may be solids, they may be liquids, and they may be gaseous state, and sometimes they will be aqueous also. So whenever the substance is solid, we can indicate or we can express that by using the letter S. So besides that chemical formula, if you write S, that it indicates that it is the solid. In the same way, if it is a liquid, we will use the letter L. If it is a gas, we represent it as a by using the letter G. So suppose if it is an aqueous solution, how can you express that one? By writing AQ. AQ is a aqueous. Aqueous means the substance when it is added with water and becomes as a solution, then we can say it as a aqueous substance. So like that, by writing these indications, we can express the chemical equation with more information. So next one is heat changes. The second one is change of the heat. When the reaction takes place, the heat may be changed. That means sometimes during the reaction between the reactants, the heat may release. Then we can say it as exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction. That means when the heat is released or liberated or evolved, then we can call it as a exothermic reaction. At the same time, if the heat in the chemical equation, when the reactants are reacting with each other, if it is absorbing the heat, so then we call it as endothermic reaction. It is endothermic reaction. So by this we can give more information for the chemical equation. And next, the third one is if gas is evolved. If gas is evolved in the chemical equation, we can use the symbol of arrow mark. So the arrow mark in the upward direction if you write, then it indicates that it is a gas. And the fourth one is precipitate. Fourth one is precipitate. Suppose in the chemical reaction, if it is giving a product, if the product is in the form of a precipitate, then we can say it is a precipitate. So by giving the downward arrow, we can represent it as a precipitate. So by using all these indications or expressions, we can make the chemical equation more informative. So now we can discuss the another topic, that is about interpreting a balanced chemical equation. What is that? Interpreting a balanced chemical equation. Interpreting a balanced chemical equation. So here generally in a chemical equation, it gives the information about the reactants and products. Already you know that one, the reactants will be in the left side of the equation and the products will be in the right side of the equation. So it gives such an information, and at the same time, according to the law of conservation of mass, the mass of each atom in the reactant side will be equal to the mass of the each atom in the product side. So by that we can get it is a balanced chemical equation. So this mass can be expressed in the form of U. If you use capital U, we can represent it as a units for the mass, that is a unified mass. It is unified mass, and if you are using it as a grams, we can write G and it is grams. So the mass can be represented in the form of grams or unified mass. And here also, according by using the Avogadro's number also, the number of molecules of any chemical equation can be calculated. So it may be by using the mass relationship or mass volume relationship or volume relationship or mass volume number of molecules relationship. By using these relationships, we can calculate the number of molecules and number of atoms mass, that means atomic mass in the chemical equation. So by that we can represent the balancing chemical equation. So to understand more about that one, let us discuss an example. I will give one equation for that. In this example, aluminum is reacting with iron oxide and gives aluminum trioxide and iron. So how can we express that in the chemical equation? So aluminum, the symbol for aluminum is Al, and the chemical formula for iron oxide is Fe2O3. Fe2O3, and they both reacting with each other and gives rise to aluminum trioxide. Al2O3 is the chemical formula for aluminum trioxide, and the another product will be iron. Fe is the symbol for iron. So in this chemical reaction, by this can we say it is a balanced chemical equation? If you observe clearly, it is not a balanced chemical equation. So to make it balanced chemical equation, so once recall your previous knowledge. So by keeping 2 here, as aluminum are 2 here, 2 aluminum. So aluminum atom are balanced, and by iron here Fe is having 2 atoms and here Fe is having 1 atom. So to make it balanced, if you write 2 as a coefficient, so iron atoms are 2 in the product side and iron atoms are 2 in the reactant side. And about the oxygen atoms, in the reactant side the number of oxygen atoms are 3, and in the product side the number of oxygen atoms are 3. So by this we can say the both sides the oxygen atoms are balanced. So whole equation is a balanced chemical equation. So to calculate this number of molecules or the molar mass or in the form of unified mass or grams, let us get the atomic mass of the each individual atom. We know that atomic mass of aluminum is 27 atomic mass of aluminum is 27 and the atomic mass of iron is 56 and the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So by using these atomic masses, we can calculate the number of molecules per number of molar mass or number of molecules or molar mass for the reactant side and the product side. So to calculate that, if you write 2 into aluminum is having 27 plus iron 2 Fe 2 into 56 plus 3 into oxygen is having 16. So gives rise to aluminum. So 2 into 27 plus 3 into 16 plus 2 into 56. So here 2 into 27 means 54 plus here we can calculate this one 2 into 56 112 plus 3 into 16 78 sorry 48. So it gives rise to 2 into 27 54 plus 3 into 16 48 plus 2 into 56 112. So by adding all the molecular mass of the chemicals, what we will get? 4 plus 2 6 plus 8 14 1 6 7 11 so 240. Okay, or otherwise we can write like 54 plus 112 plus 48 0 6 160 and gives rise to 54 plus 48 12 102 plus 112. So if you write like this, each individual element we are getting the total molecular mass or unified mass. For aluminum we are getting 54, we can write U 54 U or 54 grams, and iron oxide we are getting 160 unified mass or 160 grams, and for aluminum trioxide we are getting 102 U or 102 grams, and for iron we are getting 112 unified mass or 112 grams. So by this we are getting the each and everything individual molecular mass or unified mass are in the form of grams, and here in the form of number of molecules. So if you observe here aluminum, it is having 2. Before the aluminum 2 is there. That means it is having 2 moles. 2 mole plus iron oxide, only one iron oxide is there. So 1 mole gives rise to here aluminum trioxide, it is also only 1 mole, and finally coming to iron, it is 2 iron atoms are there, so 2 moles of iron is there. So this is the differentiation for the chemical equation. So basing on this, let us do one small problem. The problem is, suppose if you are given aluminum as a metal and to get the iron, so how can you calculate how much amount of aluminum is required? For example, to get 1120 kg of iron, how much aluminum is required to us? So to calculate that, according to the previous equation, we can write like this: aluminum gives rise to iron Fe So here how much amount of aluminum is there? In the previous equation, if you observe, 54 grams of aluminum is required to get 112 grams of iron. So according to this question, to get 1120 kg of iron, how much aluminum is required? So we don't know how much aluminum we have to take. So let us write x grams. So gives raised to, so here to get 1120 kg iron. So 1120 kg we can convert it into grams. So we can write this 1120 into 1000 grams. So why? Because 1 kg equal to 1000 grams. So to understand, to calculate the x value, that means how much aluminum we want to take. For that we have to do the cross multiplication. So x is equal to 1120 into 1000 into 54 by 112. So by simplification we will get 54 5,40,000. This in the form of, it is in the form of grams. To convert this in the form of kg, 540 kg. So by this, did you understand? To get 1120 kg of iron, 540 kg of aluminium is required. So in the industries, they will take 540 kg aluminium to prepare 1120 kg of iron. So by this we can understand the balancing chemical equation. Now already in the previous video we discussed about 4 types of chemical equations. The 4 types of chemical equations are, one is chemical combination, second one chemical decomposition, third one chemical displacement, and the fourth one is chemical double displacement. So coming to here, other than those 4 types of chemical equation, 2 more types of chemical reactions are there. Those are oxidation and reduction. Oxidation reaction and reduction reaction. Here oxidation means whenever the substance is adding with oxygens, then we can say that substance is oxidation reaction. And at the same time, if the oxidation reaction is removal of hydrogen is there, we can say that also oxidation. For that one example, if copper is there, when copper is reacted with oxygen, it gives copper oxide. When copper is reacted with oxygen, it gives copper oxide. That means here copper is oxidized. In the same way, if you take copper oxide and it is reacted with hydrogen, here what is happening? Cu plus H2O is the products. These two are the products. So here we can say it is the reduction reaction. Why? Because CuO, when it is here copper is removal of oxygen takes place. Whenever the removal of oxygen takes place, that is reduction reaction. At the same time, hydrogen is added to the oxygen. So here oxygen is reduced. So by this we can say that these are oxidation and reduction reactions. So again I am saying oxidation reaction means addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen. And reduction reaction means addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen. So these two are the 2 more types of chemical reactions. And the next topic is corrosion. Corrosion. Do you know what you meant by corrosion? For example, if you take on iron piece, metallic iron piece, and if it is exposed to water and air, then what will happen? it will get into the rust. So that means iron is oxidized here, and that we can see it as a corroded. So not only iron, the other metals also will be corroded. So that process is called as corrosion. Whenever the metal is reacting with water or oxygen and they are getting their metallic oxide, then we can see it as corrosion. For example, copper, if it is, did you observe some statues which are made up of copper? So at one of the part of that statue, we will observe one green color will be deposited there. So what is that green color substance? That is copper oxide. We call it as a corrosion of the copper. And in your home also some silver utensils will be there, silver spoon or silver glass. So sometimes if you observe, while we are using, or if you are not using that utensil, we will observe one black color will be deposited there. So that is due to the corrosion. That means silver is reacting with hydrogen sulfide. That means H2S. Hydrogen sulfide is reacting with silver. Then we will get one substance that is the corrosion of the silver. We call it as a tarnishing of the silver. So this is one of the topic about the corrosion. So how can we prevent the corrosion of that metals not to reacting with the oxygen or water and getting metal oxides? So to prevent that, we can paint the metallic objects in our home. For example, our house gates will be there and some windows grills will be there. So for that, if you paint with oil paints, they won't be get into the rust. That means they won't be corroded. So that is one of the prevention method not to get corrosion of the iron metal. And for other metals not to corrode, what we have to do? So for them, two types of process are there. One is galvanizing and another one is alloying. Galvanizing means with the other metal it will be mixed together, and another process alloying means mixing of two or more metals or non-metal. One of the non-metal also mixed together. So that is called as alloys. So those alloys also nowadays we are using in our daily life. And the next process is next concept is rancidity. Rancidity. Rancidity means the spoiling of the food items. Suppose in our home, if we are using some for eating, we will use some food items. So if you leave for some time after eating some part, if you leave for some time, the next day if you observe that one, the food item will be oxidized. That means it is in the process of rancid. So that process is called as rancidity. So to prevent that, some food preservatives we can use. So by using the food preservatives, for example, to preserve the pickles, we will use salt. So salt will be used as a good preservative. And also you may observe some generally you will eat Lay's or Kurkure packets, some Bingo packets. So if you observe those packets, inside some gas will be filled. What is that gas? Nitrogen gas is filled in that food packing. Why? Because when nitrogen is there, it won't allow oxygen to go in to enter into the packets. So if oxygen is not going into the packets, then what happens? The food item will not be spoiled there. That means the food item will not be oxidized there. So like that we can prevent the oxidation of the food material. That means we can prevent the rancidity. So these are the topics which are involved in this chemical reactions and equation. So children, by watching this video, you are getting some information. So note down those points and carefully. And after the video, we'll give some questions as a homework. You have to write that questions and you have to complete that answers and show me in the next class when we are meeting in our school. Thank you.